Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom with Jay Wise and Nathan Drinkard. I'm your host, Cody Ward. Thank you for spending some of your time with us tonight. Now, as a reminder to all our listeners, besides being on all your favorite podcast platforms, A Drink of Wisdom is also on YouTube with each show segment available. Head on over if you like what you hear. Well, we would appreciate your subscription. What's going on, guys? Everybody back in the building for tonight. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going great. Let's go.
Right.
Let's talk some sports, baby. You know what it is. We in here on a crisp Tuesday. Pull up a seat. We got to speak, etc., etc. Don't let that get too far ahead of you. Let's roll, Cody.
All right, in episode 20, we're recapping the weekend in the NFL. We're checking in on James Harden, and we're reviewing the college football playoff rankings. But we're going to go ahead and start tonight with the Philadelphia Eagles and a big change at quarterback. The Eagles dropped their fourth straight game on Sunday, 30-16 to the Packers. In that game, quarterback Carson Wentz continued to struggle in what's been a disastrous 2020 campaign and was replaced by second-round pick quarterback Jalen Hurts. Hurts has been named a starter this week and will make his first debut Sunday against the Saints. Wentz has had 16 touchdowns and 15 picks in the year, is posting a career-low 57% completion rate, and has been sacked 50 times, which is 10 more than anyone else in the NFL. So, Jay, at 3-8-1, do the Eagles have to make this decision? And what on earth could be next for Wentz with that big contract extension about to kick in?
I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles necessarily had to make this move, but I think maybe it was something they felt like they needed to do. Carson Wentz right now, he appears to be he looks like a broken player. And the Eagles, they're a game and a half back right now with the old football team and the Giants fighting for first place of that that prestigious division, which is the NFC East. What I'm looking at with Doug Peterson is I don't believe he thinks that the Eagles are going to be able to get back in the race with Carson Wentz, given what we've seen from him right now. And I don't believe Jalen Hurts is going to be the answer, quite honestly. But he is an unknown right now. And giving what looks like to be just a known fact of Carson Wentz is not going to get it done for you, then maybe it's worth taking a flyer on Jalen Hurts and seeing if he can, give his team a little bit of a spark. But first and foremost, a lot of these you can't make excuses for a guy. But for so much. Although I think there are reasons other than just Carson Wentz for his struggles. But Carson Wentz, he's absolutely responsible for his poor play. No one's out there committing turnovers, throwing picks, fumbling the football except him. So he's got to take responsibility for that. But I will say, I don't think we're being really all that honest with ourselves if we just say, Carson Wentz can't play football anymore after what we've seen from him the past 3 seasons. 2017, the guy was an MVP candidate. 2018, he was, playing at a very high level before he got hurt, much like the MVP season. And then last season, he was healthy for the entire season, for the entire regular season, and carried what looked to be, an average to below average football team with all the injuries they had. And this season, he just has not been able to replicate that performance. In the last 2 seasons, they've been hit uncharacteristically hard by the injury bug. This year, with Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson, I don't know where they are. They are names and nothing more when it comes to wide receiver. They are just big names that just can't find the football field. Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz, your excellent tight end combination, they can't find the football field at the same time. You got Miles Sanders back there, but other than that, there's really not a whole lot to like on this offense. Your wide receivers behind, your name only wideouts. Give me a break. Greg Ward, Travis Fulgham, John Hightower. I've been told Arcega-Whiteside, is somebody. He's got about 2 catches on the season. And you got your first-round pick, Jalen Reagor. But if you remember, in the draft class with the wide receiver core, there, you had your top 3 with Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, and C.A. Lamb. I was of the mindset that Justin Jefferson was the next best thing. The Eagles went with Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor's doing, he's 20 catches in 7 games. Justin Jefferson looks like the offensive rookie of the year. So that's a choice that Howie Roseman made. I don't think he had the best of off seasons. He did pick up Darius Slay in that trade from the Lions, but you lost Malcolm Jenkins. You didn't have the best draft. You elected to, after picking Jalen Reagor, you elected to take Jalen Hurts in the second round, neglecting to assist in helping Carson Wentz. So you got to take that into account. Doug Peterson, I got questions about Doug Peterson. I'm not sure. I mean, was he really, the architect of success for this offense for that, on that Super Bowl run, or was it Frank Reich who's doing a fine job over there for the Indianapolis Colts? So I'm looking at that. I got questions about Doug Peterson. They just haven't been the same since Frank Reich left. The offensive line, it's in shambles. Jason Peters is old. Lane Johnson, he's finally caved to injury. You lost Brandon Brooks at the start of the year. Those are three, key pieces on your line. And then Jason Kelce, your center, he's been the one constant, but I don't think he's played particularly well this year. So, despite the fact that Carson Wentz has been pretty bad this year, at the beginning of the season, I was making the argument that he was a top 5 quarterback. Well, he's played like a bottom 5 quarterback. That's what he's played like. Between the turnovers and just, all the negative plays, there just hasn't been enough positive to outweigh the negative. And he just has not been able to carry a team as we expect him to. That is why Carson Wentz got the money. That is what we believed him to be. I am not out on Carson Wentz. I think this is the right move in the interim. But when you look at what this means for the future, I don't think this means anything for the future. Carson Wentz is the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles moving forward in my mind. And one of the simple things from it is the money. You just told us. That $128 million extension starts next year. So sit him down if you want to sit him down for the next 4 games, I think that's fine. Give him a whole off season of work. Maybe Doug Peterson can hire a quarterback coach to get him get him back on the right path. Maybe you get a full off season. Maybe you get some decent injury luck. Some of these guys keep dropping like flies. Maybe you do that, but maybe Doug Peterson can stop calling plays if he's doing that, because it doesn't appear to be working. So I think there's a plethora of things wrong with the Philadelphia Eagles. Even if Jalen Hurts comes out and has some immediate success, I think it'll be fool's gold. I think once defensive coordinators get some tape on him, I think it's going to be tough for him to have sustained success. It's really curious. One of the things we looked at with the Green Bay Packers and what they did with Jordan Love, we didn't spend much time talking about the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. I think we mentioned it, of course, but it seemed like a less big deal than what the Packers did to Aaron Rodgers when they drafted Jordan Love. I don't know. Maybe you draft Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round and maybe it shook Carson Wentz's confidence. You got to think of it. This guy's been dealing for years with all the Nick Foles magic talk. You finally get Nick Foles out of here, and we see what's happening to Nick Foles. Nick Foles can't play anywhere outside of Philadelphia. That's just factual. But now you bring in Jalen Hurts after Carson Wentz, in my mind, had a fantastic season. He stayed healthy the entire year. He got Jadeveon Clowney daggone near killed him in the wild card game. You can't do nothing about that. But despite all the criticism, and there's a bunch you can lay at Carson Wentz, he's been healthy. He has battled, he has sustained, he's been sacked about 50 times. So he's got that going for him. There ain't a whole lot you can say positive about him this year, but he has stayed healthy. But moving forward, I think I don't see any reason to why, unless we see some unforeseen and Jalen Hurts just plays out of his mind and he leads them to a 7-8-1 NFC West title. Carson Wentz is the quarterback of this team moving forward. The Eagles need to figure it out. Whether in the coaching staff, Doug Peterson has got to be better. Howie Roseman's got to be better. And he's just got to get a little more help around him.
Fly, Eagle, fly. No. So let me start off where Jay kind of left off with the comparison of Green Bay drafted Jordan Love in the 1st round. We lost our minds. Yo, you can't be serious. This is disrespectful. You just peed in the man's yard. And then the Eagles did the same thing to Carson Wentz to a lesser degree. And I do agree. I do think that has something to do with Carson Wentz's confidence. Now, it's a whole lot of factors that go into this season, just this particular season, not the season, not last year, not just this particular season. So, first of all, $128 million don't buy you what it used to. All right, so we need, you know what I'm saying? How would I know? I ain't never bought them for $128 million, but whatever. All right, but listen, because of that, your offensive line looked like, I think they had a better offensive line on the movie, The Longest Yard, than what I'm seeing out there with the Philadelphia Eagles. All right? Because you want to go out here, you win to pay Carson Wentz the big bucks, and now you're not getting a good return on your investment. All right, cool. But the reason I'm pointing out the season is because I think this is the year, if I'm Carson Wentz, look, the extension starts next year or whatnot. Look, this is the COVID year. That's what 2020 is going to be remembered for. Everybody can half-ass all they want to. Just throw it away, put the whole year in rice, et cetera, right? If I'm Carson Wentz, I'm like, listen, all right, cool. We ain't winning the division. I mean, it don't look like we're going to win the division anyway. We got the football team out here looking like the, second best team, and then you got the Giants looking like – the Giants look like the most impressive team in the division without their star-like player. Like, everybody else has been complaining, oh, we don't got this guy, we don't got this guy. The Giants don't got Saquon Barkley. They still winning. One of the most electric running backs in the league. So when we start crying about who we don't have, just look at the Giants. They figuring it out. And just like Jay said, who in the hell thought the Giants would be the division leaders? It definitely wasn't me. So that said, I just think it's a lot of factors going into this. So to answer your question, the initial question, do I think a change needs to be made? Maybe. Why not? Spice it up a little bit. Let's see what we got in Jalen Hurts because, listen, you could throw away the rest of this season. And then we could come back next year when we got a little more normalcy going on, hopefully, and things is a little more what we're used to. And I think you might get a better product. Listen, Carson Wentz, not only do he got to play with an apathetic offensive line, a wide receiver core that can't even stay 30% healthy, he don't know who his starting running back going to be from game to game. And then, oh, by the way, just like Jay mentioned, a massive coaching change that seems to affect him because it's not the same game plan as it was when he was in the running for MVP and when he actually, gave you the reason to pay him $128 million, right? And, oh, by the way, he's out here playing in empty arenas. And I think this affects players more than we think. Playing in these empty arenas, trying to manufacture motivation. These players, think about this. When you're young, right, and you have these dreams in your head, and you like, I can see me coming out of a tunnel and the crowd going crazy and all eyes on me and this, that, and the third. And, whatever your dream might be, if that's a singer, if that's an athlete, if that's an entertainer, whatever your avenue is. That happens to a lot of these players. Carson Wentz is not an old guy. He's a fairly young guy, right? So now he's getting used to playing without a crowd. Now he's getting used to playing with these expectations. Oh, by the way, you went and drafted a guy with your second pick. That happens to be a pretty popular guy, by the way. It wasn't like we didn't know who Jalen Hurts was. The guy had probably one of the most high-profile college careers because of the two universities he ended up going to and what they came with.
That's not like you drafted Jordan Love.
You know what I'm saying? So you can chef Jordan Love. Matter of fact, look at how the Packers got away with Shelton Jerry. They just chefted their first round pick and nobody bat an eye. Hey, we want to see Jordan. All right, just keep him over there. It's not the same thing in Philadelphia. Philadelphia been clamoring for Jalen. Y'all drafted Jalen Hurts. We want to see him play. I think it's a lot going on for Wentz. I really do. Just like Jay said, it's not all on Wentz. Are you kidding me? Look at this offensive line. Are you kidding me? They can't block nothing. Nothing. Just bags of potatoes just standing there. Nothing. They ain't hitting on crap back there. And then the wide receiver core, Alshon Jeffrey. How many games has he played? Deshaun Jackson. Oh, he just soaking up a paycheck. You got Greg Ward still flopping around. Jalen Reagor, as he brought up. Jalen Reagor, by the way, he is their lead receiver, but he ain't no Jordan Jefferson. They just call it what it is. Listen, you pulled a Chicago Mitch Trubisky debacle. Either way, right? Either way, Carson Wentz is not in this situation that we think he's in. I think they did the right thing. You bring in you let Carson Wentz get his mind right and say, listen, champ, you're gonna be the starting quarterback next year. But if you come out here with this bullcrap next year, Jalen Hurts gonna take your spot and you can figure it out. I don't know. You can put, you know what? You can fall right in Nick Foles' footsteps and figure it out somewhere else, buddy. Because we're not paying you just sit around and do nothing. I do think Carson Wentz still got game, though. It's no way a guy could be in the MVP conversation, 3-4 years ago, and then all of a sudden just fall off the cliff. This ain't RG3. This Carson Wentz. So, what's up?
And not only that, not only the MVP season 3 years ago, he just put this whole team on his back last year.
You're right.
You can't tell me. I think it's a ludicrous argument to all of a sudden try to say he can't play period anymore. I will say another thing that I don't think helps him at all is, Philadelphia is an unforgiving fan base.
Yes.
Dominic McNabb sat in Philadelphia for years, and I don't know if he was ever truly loved. Despite the great career he had there. Never won the Super Bowl, but I mean, my God, 5 NFC Championship games and just all the things he accomplished there. That's an unforgiving place. It also brings up, you bring up, again, the Aaron Rodgers Green Bay comparison. I think we all – I know I expected, Jordan Love – when Jordan Love got drafted, it was going to light up – I believe it would bring out the best in Aaron Rodgers, and it has. I think it's between him and Patrick Mahomes for the MVP right now. Carson Wentz, for whatever reason, he hasn't responded the same way. I don't know the real explanation for that, but I think you're right. If you drafted Jalen Hurts and this happens, then yeah, go ahead and throw Jalen Hurts in there and see what happens. You drafted him, so let's see what happens. I think another thing, when I watch Carson Wentz play, and it's just it's been just horrific thing to see this year. I notice it seems to be a consistent occurrence. If you ever watch him, the ball never comes out on time. It seems like Carson Wentz, whatever, it was a 3-step drop, 5-step drop, he drops back and he looks like he's about to pull the trigger. And he always holds it and then starts to scramble or looks somewhere else. That tells me receivers just aren't getting it done. Receivers can't separate, they can't get open. And I just think then you get to a point where you're always trailing and then you start pressing. It seems to be as much as you want to hold a guy accountable, and I believe we got to some extent. There's a lot of reasoning to why he is having these struggles. It all cannot be on him.
Yeah, and listen, you think about this, maybe they don't have the money to really. They did whiff on Jordan Jefferson, but who knows if Jordan Jefferson get drafted by the Eagles, he might not be the same guy we see with the Vikings, because it might still be a piss poor situation where the offensive line can't protect Wentz, can't protect whatever, and you can't get the ball out. Because that, to me, the biggest problem with the Eagles is the offensive line. To me, it's just they can't open up gaps for the run game unless it's Boston Scott. But you got to put in a Google search to find Boston Scott because he's so small, right? But they can't open up run lanes. They're not protecting the quarterback. And even with Jalen Hurts back there, you got a younger guy that can take some more hits and that's a little bit mobile. That's it. That's the difference. So when you look in totality, like you said, it's more than Wentz. That's why I'm not mad at sitting them down, let them rejuvenate, try this again next year, and then in the same breath, you letting Jalen Hurts get reps. So if Carson Wentz do come out here looking like a brown bag special next year, hey, Hurts, it's your team. He's been playing. He's a lot cheaper at this point. And let's roll. Let's do what we got to do. Let's go get some receivers, whatever. So that's how I look at that. But yeah, I don't think this is a long-term thing. Cody, I think I think they playing chess a little bit, looking into the future, and we'll see a change next year.
Yeah, this thing is really been snowballing for a while. I had wanted to kind of bring it up on one or two other shows earlier in the year, and we had hit on it a little bit. It kind of come up some, but this has been going on for most of the season. It's really kind of hit ahead, especially on Sunday when they went ahead and threw Hurts in there. I'm maybe not quite as forgiving on him as y'all, and I'll be brief because then we have other stuff to get into tonight. But my opinion is this: when you're signed to a $128 million extension, and you're now the franchise quarterback. A lot of those excuses are they don't have as much weight as if he was a rookie. I'll use an example. We have Deshaun Watson and with the Texans doing the same sort of thing. As far as the team is struggling, the team around him is just deteriorated. It's crumbled. It's not been managed well. You're not hitting on draft picks, et cetera, et cetera. But Deshaun Watson is still playing very good football. The team is not really getting it done. Carson Wentz has been bad. I mean, his mechanics are awful. His footwork is awful. I can't say I've watched every snap, but, you go through some of the film analysis and some other coaches and people that talk about him. His feet are misaligned. He's overstepping into throws. He's rotating his hips too much, et cetera, et cetera. When you see guys like him who have to overcome some mechanical issues, as in they're like instinctual, the way they play the game, the way they throw the football. We knew when he came out of college, he was a bit raw. It wasn't quite there yet. He had to work to refine his game, which he did. But when things start to fall apart around you and when everything starts to crumble, that can kind of go out the window. And he's playing a lot of hero ball now, even in situations where he doesn't maybe need to be playing hero ball. I remember I did watch some of the Cowboys game, and they won that game, but he threw a horrible pick against the Cowboys, like in a situation where there was no reason to be going deep. He just needed a field goal. Needed to score. There was like 500 reasons to not throw the pass he did, and he launched some like deep crosser into double coverage and threw a pick. And it was just like, it's the kind of stuff he's been doing all year. And it's just, at some point, you got to go, look, man, we just signed you this contract. Like you can't, there's plenty of excuses. You guys covered him, and you're absolutely right. You're not wrong at all. And I think that you're right in the assessment that Carson Wentz is not beyond repair at this point, but there's got to be an accountability when you're getting paid this kind of money. You are the franchise guy now. You're supposed to overcome some of the stuff. You are still throwing a second-round pick in Dallas Goedert, and you still have some first-round picks in the offensive line they put out there for you. Guys like Andre Dillard, Miles Sanders, J.C. Arcega-Whiteside, Jalen Reagor, first-round pick. Those are all high draft picks they put around you. Now, these guys maybe aren't hitting. Maybe they're not the players you thought they were, but you've got people around you. They aren't just signing dudes off practice squads. So, but the problem is
wait, that's exactly what they did last year. That's exactly what they did.
I'm talking about this year specifically.
Okay, you're right. My bad, I'm sorry.
This year specifically. I get the injuries, especially in the offensive line. They're bad. But anyway, long story short, I think that the Eagles are going to have to kind of do a reset with this. It's hard to bench a guy that's your franchise quarterback and then bring him back and restart. That there's always that stigma. There's always that, well, we benched him once. Once you put your foot in that pool, it's hard to pull it back out. But this contract, you cannot cut him. You cannot get out from under it unless you trade him. And even if you trade him, it's a significant financial hit to trade him. You're talking about at least 20, 30 million dead dollars, regardless of if you trade him or if you cut him. It's just it's unthinkable. You can't cut him. So I think that Hurts is going to be a spark. I think that he might, do some fun stuff. Maybe he'll win him a game or two. But like Jay said, as soon as they get the film on him, it's going to go back out the window. I love Jalen Hurts as a story. Never been big on a player. And I think last thing I'll leave you with, if there is going to be a trade, if they do decide to move on, they are probably going to have a high pick in this draft in the top 10. Maybe the Saints or Colts are teams that maybe come calling about Carson Wentz. You give him a new change of scenery. Maybe you take him back to Indianapolis. Phillip Rivers old. He gets out of here. Maybe, it gets him back with Frank Reich. Maybe a new change of scenery. He can go win a Pro Bowl.
I ain't mad at it.
Now you bringing it.
There's some options, if they want to trade him, but they cannot cut him. So we'll see.
You lost me at the part about J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. I don't know what that was. Can I just say, I think your assessment was absolutely spot on, and it was definitely more as far as holding the man accountable. I ain't mad at none of that. The only thing I will say with you talk about the mechanics, you talk about footwork, you talk about all these type of things. That's coaching. That is coaching. That is the definite thing. I mean, it's just like in any other sport, like baseball, where you got a hitting coach to make sure your mechanics are right, because it's easy to fall into a slump. Pitching coach. You see pitching coach come out to the mound every other inning or so, just to make sure guys continues to be locked in. That's coaching. So that is the only other thing I'll say about it. But you're absolutely right. You got to hold them accountable, and your Deshaun Watson example is a really good one.